And so then we come to chakra 3 at the level of the navel. Manipura means the city, Pura, of the shining jewel. And here the energy is aggressive. To conquer, to consume, to turn everything into oneself. We have an Adlerian psychology at this point, a total transformation. Now, one of the problems in the early Freud camp was already recognized here. Freud giving sex as the prime energy, and Adler giving the will to power as the prime energy. And for some people it is one, for some of the other. Jung comes in then, and just when these two are fighting this thing out, and in his view, yes, there are people running this way, there are people that way. All of us have both, and one is recessive and the other dominant in any given case. And so he's had this psychology of the duality in what he called enantiodromia, where you tip over and your sex drive suddenly gives way to a violence drive, or your winning drive suddenly gives way to sex. They're in opposition to each other in our lives. And so here we have a primarily power-dominated chakra. Now this, in the Sanskrit, is very important. This is the one from which most of the energies have to be generated. Look at that. It's an ominous lotus. The petals are described as having the color of lightning-laden thunderclouds. In the center is the womb, the yoni, fire, energy. This swastika motif here means movement, energy, violence. The syllable is rang, and the animal is ram, who represents the vehicle of the god of fire, Agni. The fire of the womb, the fire of the sun, the fire of the sacrificial altar. These are the same fire. They're the transforming fires. Womb is the transforming medium, transforming past into future. The gods here is Shiva and his consort. Shiva in his violent aspect. His consort, Rakini, her jaws and breasts smeared with the blood and fat of sacrifices. Here is this gorgeous thing, Shiva Tripurantaka, Shiva, the annihilator of the three worlds of the demons, the obstructors, wiping them out, going crash right through this wall, passing as though they weren't there, all the obstructions. And now we get to the deep stuff. Here she is in her Durga aspect, riding the lion. Here she is as black time, Kali. Kali means black, Kali means time. That's her name. Black time, out of which all things come, back into which they go. The void, the transcendent, the mother and tomb of all things. Don't be afraid. Nothing's happening, just a ripple on the surface. And here is her prime altar, the battlefield. Sacrifice. And this is the yoga of war. The individual gives himself up to the Lord Death and is not in protection of himself, but is moved by the tides of history. Now, when people are living on these levels, they're living on animal levels. Animals too cling to life. Animals too beget their future. Animals too are fighting to win. And when people are living on those levels, they have to be controlled by social law, dharma. Just think of our popular religions, what they're concerned with. Prayers for health, wealth, progeny, victory. That is asking the gods to serve your animal nature. This is popular religion. And it doesn't matter what the god's name. I'll never forget being in Mexico City at the Basilica, or whatever you'd call it, of the Virgin of Guadalupe. And the people there, the women on their knees coming for blocks with their little baby that the Virgin has given them in health to thank. Swarms of people. The last time I had seen anything quite like that was at Puri, the temple of the Jagannath in Puri. The same kind of popular religiosity. And I thought, what is it the popular world wants? Health, wealth, progeny. And it doesn't matter what the god's name is. So that's the one religion, the one popular religion all over the world, no matter what the name of the god is. And the job of the priests, those in charge of the historical temple, is to get the name of their god linked up with this thing, and the money pours in like crazy. Now, think of the first temptations of the Buddha. The first was the temptation of lust, chakra 2. The second is the temptation of fear, chakra 3. The third was the temptation of duty, dharma. He had gone past this. And we're not in the field of properly religious life, in the field of the spiritual birth, until we have come up to chakra 4.
What is the difference between what Joe calls popular religion and religion which spiritually engages us? For Joe, the answer to this question is not to be found in the religion itself, but in us, in how we experience religion. He explains it this way. The divine mystery is symbolized in the image and in the name of God. Children and people just entering into the mystery must learn to relate to these symbols. Go to church, participate in the rituals, make pilgrimages, do all these things so they become part of your life. Then, according to Joe, comes the next step, recognizing these symbols for what they are, a reference to the mystery within us. Religion then becomes the vehicle by which we experience this mystery. The religion stays the same. We change. So far in our trip up the chakra system, we have been operating in the realm of popular religion, the first 3 chakras. To enter what Joe calls the field of properly religious life, we must move up to level 4, the level of transformation.
This is chakra 4.